The royal event of 2025, Princess Leonor wedding stuns the world. They say every generation witnesses a royal moment that defines an era. For our time, that moment is now. Because what began as quiet whispers in Madrid has turned into the royal event that has stunned the entire world. Spain's future queen, Princess Leonor, has just rewritten royal history. Her wedding has not only captured hearts across Europe but has transformed what it means to be royal in the modern age. This isn't just another royal wedding. This is a love story that defied protocol, melted traditions, and brought back something the monarchy had almost forgotten: genuine emotion. The world expected formality. They expected perfection. But what they witnessed was something far more powerful: humanity. It began with a sunrise over Madrid that felt different. The kind of morning that carried both nervous excitement and history in the air. From the moment the royal carriages began rolling through the gates of the Palacio Real, crowds erupted into applause. Spain hadn't seen joy like this since the coronation of King Felipe VI. But today wasn't about a king. It was about his daughter, a young woman who had grown before the world's eyes, now walking into destiny not as a child of the crown, but as its future. Princess Leonor, at 20 years old, was about to marry, not because of politics, not because of duty, but because of love. And that's what made this wedding different. The moment she stepped out of the royal carriage, time seemed to stop. Her gown, custom made by one of Spain's most revered designers, was breathtaking. A masterpiece that blended royal grace with modern elegance: pearl white silk, long cathedral veil, and delicate embroidery inspired by the Spanish coat of arms. But beyond the gown, what truly stole the world's attention was her expression: calm, radiant, emotional. You could see it in her eyes. She wasn't just fulfilling a royal expectation. She was following her heart. Standing at the steps of Almudena Cathedral, with the golden bells echoing through Madrid, Leonor took her first steps into a chapter that would change not only her life, but the future of Spain's monarchy forever. Inside the cathedral, history met destiny. Rows of European royals filled the seats, from King Charles III and Queen Camilla of the United Kingdom, to Crown Prince Frederick and Crown Princess Mary of Denmark, all united under the grand chandeliers and centuries of royal tradition. And yet, the air felt different. This was not a performance for power. This was an alliance of love. Because waiting at the altar was Prince Christian of Denmark, the man who had quietly captured the heart of Spain's future queen. The cameras zoomed in on his face as she entered, and in that single moment, the world felt something rare: authenticity. His eyes watered, his lips trembled into a smile, and it became clear: this wasn't just a royal match. This was real. As the ceremony began, whispers filled the cathedral. "Can you believe it?" one reporter was overheard saying. Two heirs, two future monarchs, uniting through love. It was something Europe hadn't seen in generations: a royal union not arranged, but chosen. The vows were simple, deeply emotional, and personal. Written by Leonor herself, they spoke not just of devotion, but of purpose. She said, "Our crowns were given by birth, but our love is chosen. And in that choice, I find my freedom." The audience fell silent. Even King Felipe was seen wiping away a tear. Queen Letizia clasped her hands close to her chest, proud yet overwhelmed by the magnitude of the moment. When Christian took his turn, he spoke with quiet strength. "You are not only my love but my equal. Together, we will serve. Not just our crowns, but our people." It was raw. It was powerful. It was everything a new generation wanted to see from royalty. As the couple exchanged rings, the crowd outside erupted in cheers. Tens of thousands of Spaniards lined the streets of Madrid, waving flags and singing, "Viva la Reina." Screens in plazas across Spain broadcast the ceremony live. In cafes, homes, and city squares, people watched in awe as the young couple sealed their vows with a kiss that felt both royal and refreshingly human. It wasn't just a wedding, it was a national renewal. Spain, a country with centuries of monarchy, was seeing a future that looked not like duty and distance, but warmth and unity. But behind the beauty of the ceremony was a quiet tension few noticed. Inside the palace, there had been weeks of quiet debate. Some senior advisors worried the match would blur royal lines, merging two powerful European dynasties. Others feared the media attention would overshadow the political role Leonor was being trained for. But Leonor, ever calm, reportedly told her father one thing: "If I am to serve Spain, I must also be true to who I am." Those words silenced the doubts. Because in them, King Felipe saw what he had always hoped for: a leader who understood both duty and humanity. As the royal procession made its way from the cathedral through Madrid's historic center, crowds threw rose petals into the air. Children perched on shoulders, waving flags, while elderly Spaniards wept with pride. The sound of church bells mixed with the cheers of the people. From above, the sight was breathtaking: carriages moving slowly beneath royal banners, sunlight glinting off the glass domes, and a sea of red and gold, the colors of Spain, stretching as far as the eye could see. International media called it the royal event of the century. Social networks exploded with clips of Leonor's smile, Christian's trembling hands, and the royal family's emotional reactions. Within hours, the images were trending across Europe, the United States, and Latin America, proof that in an age of digital noise, genuine love still breaks through. Later that evening, at the royal banquet held inside the Palacio Real, the atmosphere was intimate yet grand. Golden chandeliers lit the hall. Spanish classical music echoed softly in the background. Guests dined on a five-course meal crafted by Spain's most celebrated chefs, dishes inspired by the couple's heritage, blending Spanish warmth with Danish simplicity. But it was the speeches that stole the night. King Felipe rose to speak first, his voice thick with emotion. "Today," he said, "Spain does not lose a daughter, it gains a future." He turned to his new son-in-law and added, "Christian, protect her as I have, not because she is a princess, but because she is a woman who carries both strength and grace." The applause that followed lasted nearly a minute. Then Queen Letizia took the microphone. Her voice trembled slightly as she spoke. From the moment she was born, Leonor carried light. Today, that light shines across Europe. You could feel the emotion in the room. And when Leonor finally stood to speak, she said something that moved even the most stoic diplomats to tears. "A crown can be inherited," she said softly, "but love must be earned. And today, I have both." As night fell over Madrid, fireworks illuminated the sky. From the royal balcony, Leonor and Christian appeared hand in hand, waving to the roaring crowd below. For a brief moment, all the divisions, politics, and pressures faded. Spain felt united, not just under a monarchy, but under a shared emotion. The moment was symbolic. It wasn't just about celebration, it was about transition. A young woman once introduced to the world as Her Royal Highness, the Princess of Asturias, had now stepped into her destiny, not as a figurehead, but as a leader, a symbol of hope. The next morning, newspapers across Europe carried headlines like, "A new era for Spain, the Queen who chose love." Leonor and Christian, the royal couple rewriting history. The future monarchs who made the world believe again. Even critics of monarchy admitted something had changed. Leonor's wedding wasn't about extravagance or ceremony. It was about redefining royalty for a new generation, one that demands empathy, authenticity, and humanity from its leaders. And as millions watched the replay of the event, one truth became clear: this was more than a royal event. It was a cultural reset. In the days that followed, the young couple retreated briefly from the spotlight. Reports suggested they spent their first week as newlyweds quietly, away from cameras, somewhere in northern Spain, close to the mountains where Leonor once trained as a cadet. Those who saw them described them as calm, laughing, unguarded. For once, royalty felt ordinary. And maybe that's the magic of it. For the first time in a long time, the world didn't see titles or crowns, they saw two people, united by love, walking boldly toward the future. Because the truth is, this wedding wasn't just Spain's story. It was the story of a generation watching history evolve before their eyes. Of young women everywhere seeing that even in the world's oldest institutions, change is possible. Of a monarchy realizing that the strongest crown is not made of gold, but of authenticity. Princess Leonor's wedding stunned the world, not because of the dress, the guests, or the spectacle, but because it reminded everyone what royalty is supposed to mean: service, grace, and love that endures beyond ceremony. So when people look back at 2025, they won't just remember the royal event of the year. They'll remember the day the Spanish crown beat in rhythm with the human heart. Because for once, the world didn't just watch a royal wedding. It felt it.